All right, guys, let's try this again. If you listen to the podcast, you know what is about to happen. Today on the Tom Kelly Show, we are going to discuss the Debbie Gibson Winterlicious tour. Plus, we're going to talk about the best pizza place on Long Island. And if we get time for it, things that I'm too old for and you're probably too old for too. Let's start the show.
The Tom Kelly Show. Everybody, I want you to go to the Tom Kelly Show. I want you all to know about the Tom Kelly Show.
Here we go. Content warning. Spoiler alert. I want to get lost in your eyes. You are experiencing the Tom Kelly Show. We are recording the program tonight on Friday, December 8th, 5:21 p.m. Solo show today, ladies and gentlemen, that will please our friend Mark Epstein, who I jokingly said he hated the shows with guests. Actually, I think the exact words were, they do nothing for him. And honestly, maybe without getting too into it, sometimes the solo shows do better, but I find those shows with guests are part of my journey too. Let's not get too into that, but I promised, actually I didn't promise anybody, I just promised myself that I would share this quick video message that Mark shared with me after I called him out for hating shows with guests.
Listen, Tom Kelly Show fans, I feel like I'm being wrongly accused and persecuted here by Tom on his shows. I never said I didn't like his interviews or I thought they were bullshit. I just said I prefer and I like it when he's talking solo about his feelings, about where he's at. This last episode with Clayton, that's a great interview. I never said Tom couldn't do good interviews. I just wish that, if you're going to accuse me of something, Tom, you accuse me of something in person when I can defend myself, not on a podcast, broadcast to all these people that I...
Yes, folks, the video does cut out halfway mid-sentence on Mark, and that is because Mark has not splurged for a better data plan. So that's the message. Thank you, Mark. But right now, let's tune into what you guys came for. The Debbie Gibson Winterlicious tour. I actually, oh my God, I feel like such a jerk for this, but when the process of the free tickets were starting 2 episodes ago. Oh, by the way, it's episode 350. It's episode 350 of the Tom Kelly Show, the podcast where one comedian, Tom Kelly, tries to figure out life, owns his midlife crisis, and talks about the world around him while trying to elevate his career to the next level. Debbie Gibson. We did a quick Instagram reel where we made fun of Debbie Gibson's hometown, Merrick, Long Island. And the punchline was, and the best celebrity from Merrick, Long Island is Debbie Gibson. Blah, blah, blah. Our new friend, one of the bald bookends of the Bald Bookend podcast, Debbie Gibson dancer, Buddy Casamano. Found the video, shared it with Debbie Gibson, and to speed through the story, there is communication back and forth, and Buddy invited me to be his personal guest at the Debbie Gibson concert. He invited me to bring a friend, and the hard part about getting tickets to anything last minute at my age is it's hard to find a date. This is why I don't bring dates to weddings. It's why I don't ask people to go places with me anymore. It's why I don't make plans. I just want to quickly shout out the friends who turned me down for going with me to the Debbie Gibson Winterlicious tour. Quick shout outs to Joe Ferrari, Justin Calabrese, Jackie Bonamasso, Brian Kist, Mike McGarrigle, Pete McGarrigle, Logan O'Connor, Jennifer Kennedy, Mark Franchino, Adam Zajac, Tony Wolkin, Tara Bennett, Megan Jonas, Princess Rocky, Danielle DeLilla, my cousin Kelly, my nephew Nico, the combined members of the WNBA Connecticut Sun, all of the Radio City Rockettes. I know it's your busy season, but you're telling me there's not a single one of you who would be available on a Saturday night. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and Amy, a random match I had on Bumble. All turned me down either directly or indirectly when I got these killer tickets. And the seats were amazing. The show was amazing. If you love Debbie Gibson, it's a 5-star show. If you don't know her work, it's still a 4-star show. You just need to know who Debbie Gibson was. It was actually a meaningful show for me. One, it meant something for me that my comedy would lead to something happening. At this point, it sounds stupid, but it's nice to have a tangible result from my work. And she sort of talked about her own career, the ups and downs of glamour in her career. This show was a very mom and pop show. So you felt like you were part of the family. You felt like you were seeing a friend when you got there. And you could tell that not just Debbie, but everybody on stage was putting an effort into it without trying too hard. Buddy Casamano, he is 54 years old, and he does flips on stage. I, of course, did not record him doing a flip for all the bootleg B-roll footage I have of it. But yeah, and I want to thank Kurt on Debbie's, VIP team who handles the merch. I brought my field podcasting kit, and long story short, the folks at the Gramercy Theater, who are incredibly nice, wouldn't let me go in with my little microphone. Like, we need to check this at the door. We need to check this at the door. You can't use that on the VIP line. I'm like, it's a stupid wireless microphone, and I didn't want to leave blank $100 in a coat check. And this guy Kurt saw I was upset, and basically took my bag, put it on the side. And to speed through the story, I thought he was going to give it to me for when I met Debbie Gibson later. And he said, nah, they'll get mad. Let's not do that. And that's fine. So thank you for managing my social skills. And I guess that brings me to the moment where I meet Debbie Gibson. Now, funny note, where you talk about me milking this experience. If this is episode 350, on episode 348, I put the word Debbie Gibson at the top of the title. In the title of the episode. And I guess a Debbie Gibson fan found it and then wrote a very angry YouTube comment. Let me see if I can find it quick. YouTube.com/TomKellyShow. By the way, however you subscribe to the Tom Kelly Show, if you're on YouTube, I do enjoy the comments. You don't have to comment. We also have the Tom Kelly Show secret fan group. So in episode 346, it was just a very real, for this guy to be a douchebag on that episode, this guy was a douche. But I basically, the episode was titled Debbie Gibson, Stage Fright and Why I Podcast. A very meaningful solo show where I talked about how I was just too nervous to podcast. A man named, don't delete your comment. Here we go. Chris Baker, author. On, again, a very personal show. A personal show says, I won't waste my time with this again. I had hoped you might actually be talking to Debbie Gibson. Instead, it was a bunch of pointless rambling about yourself. Thank you, Chris. I put myself out there, and you just said... So anyway, here's the funny part is now, 4 episodes later, here's the moment that Chris Baker, author, would have appreciated. I go to meet Debbie Gibson. And you know what? Let me just play the clip.
We got Tom over here. How are you?
Hi, Tom.
You were good to me this week sharing a video I did.
Oh, your video is so great.
Yes, and Buddy hooked me up. And
Did you see the video where Tom talks about the snobbery between like North American, South American,
and you have the best neighborhood.
And Electric Institute.
You're the only good celebrity to come out of America. We'll go through in fact, just in case anyone.
We had Amy Fisher.
Yeah, we didn't want to put you in that spot.
It's
yeah.
hilarious. She sat next to Denise at home, my little sister.
Oh my God, really?
She did.
Okay, I got
Tom
the
and
story.
Tom.
Yeah, let's get a picture.
And it's the moment, we're talking about the one joke that I didn't put into the Belmore Merrick video on purpose. So she's from the town where Amy Fisher is from, and I'm from the town where the Buttafuoco's are from. And so in the end, she wound up doing the one joke I didn't put into the Instagram. Boom. But it's a piece of Long Island pop culture. And again, she was gracious. She said she would do this podcast possibly in 2024. And let's see if we're still into it by then. And again, because I was VIP, I wanted to save this. This is what they call an unboxing. Oh, take this, Chris Baker, author. I'm doing an unboxing, and you're missing it, Chris Baker, author. Let's do a quick Debbie Gibson boxing. Oh, here's the check for where they put my bag, and then I took it out of the coat check. But here we go. Ooh, Debbie Gibson gave you a card, and you have to open the card first. So we'll do a quick opening of the card. How thoughtful is it? You get VIP tickets, and she gives you a gift with a card with a picture of herself. Let's see if there's any money inside. That's my dad's joke. Oh, my God. Handwritten, though. Honored you joined me for my VIP experience. Debbie Gibson. And, yeah, let's see what the picture is. Oh, my God. And by the way, folks, I don't want to be misogynistic, but Debbie Gibson, beautiful, beautiful. Of course, there was this little point, as like Marianne Stell Magic, one of our super fans who's in the Tom Kelly Show secret fan group, is like, you should give her a flower and bring her a corsage. And I'm like, Marianne, I'm going to a concert alone. I think I look like a stalker enough. And I did the right thing not bringing her flowers, by the way, Marianne. I was a very well treated, but I was one of many, many people she had to get to that night. Let's open the gift. I'm going to gently unwrap this. I should really, if I were smart, I would give this away as a prize to somebody who really likes Debbie Gibson. A picture frame. And, dude. So fun or weird, the picture frame is empty, but it says Debbie Gibson VIP 2023. And I guess you could just, look at that. You could put the picture of her into that frame. How about that for a nice and thoughtful thing? So anyway, thank you again to Buddy. She told her own story during the show about how, remember her career she was an 80s pop star and then became sort of a punchline. I don't want, that's rude to say it that way, but, look at her. She was a teen pop sensation. And, America, we like to build people up and then we like to tear people down. And she kept reinventing. She kept doing little things, bigger things. Just because she was big one year, that didn't mean she couldn't do smaller things the next year or the year after that. And she keeps creating music. And she talked about how there was a Rolling Stone article written about her that reinvigorated her spirit. And Buddy, if you are listening to this, dude, you reinvigorated my spirit. And I sat with your niece and maybe one day your nephew-in-law. They were great people. I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you after the show, but hopefully we'll meet up one day. So that's that experience. Going through our checklist of things to talk about. We always talk about our friend Kelly Banks of Kelly Banks Cakes. She's Michael Strahan's friend. I just posted this into the Tom Kelly Show secret fan group. I got a text message from Kelly Banks, who, again, I give her sponsorship credit on this show all the time. She makes the best brownies. She makes the best cupcakes. And that's all at kellybankscakes.com. But she sent me a text saying, by the way, a copy and paste text message, Kelly. But, and I always give her a sponsorship here because she has no idea what the hell a podcast is. But she said, hopefully you've seen I'm competing in The Greatest Baker. I have a chance to win and be featured in Bake From Scratch magazine and take home $10,000. I'm now in the top 20. This next round ends Thursday, and I need your help. Please continue to vote. 1 vote a day is free. Please share my post so others can vote. It's one of those, but I'll put the link in the secret group. Without getting too into it, it's one of those contests where, hey, click on my thing the most and, I'll be famous. So if you can, I shared the link. Feel free to vote for her. There you go. That's our sponsor of the day. But you're a part of something big, but again, what I like to do, for those of us who call this the Tom Kelly Show conference call, I do like the conference call community building aspect of this. In the realm of community building and sharing my experience and you guys bearing with me. You guys, I guess it's 2 episodes ago now, towards the end of the podcast, I did a lot of loose takes on recording a TikTok about how I was the most famous person from Massapequa. And it actually did moderately well. I mean, none of these videos have been the one that make you go, oh my God, I'm famous now, I can retire. Oh my God, I've achieved so much success, I can retire. And it's, that's why I found if you are into shows with guests, the interview I did with Lenny Marcus on the last episode is interesting if you're aspiring to something creative. Like, he just focuses on the work, not the fame and the accolades and achievements. He chases work that makes him feel good, whereas I've been chasing not just work that makes me feel good, but stuff that works with the numbers. I mean, let's just leave it at that. But anyway, this is where you guys help me. The video on Merrick did well. I did a quick video with pieces from this podcast and a couple of viral TikToks and got a couple of free sweatshirts out of the folks at Saltwater, Long Island. That's a fun victory. That's fun. But here's one I want to do. And again, what's funny is when you talk about me focusing on local content, I have quite a international, if not national audience, or quite a national, if not international audience here on the podcast. And actually, do I have anybody listening from other countries? I used to have a couple of Canadians, and I haven't heard from them in a while. Oh, yeah, Diana in Canada. So that makes us international. But me rambling for a minute here, you guys saw a behind the scenes where I talked about, being the most famous person from Massapequa. And it was a TikTok where I was a little bit vulnerable. And the hard part with vulnerable, self-effacing humor is you'll always get one person who doesn't get that you're being self-effacing. So Jack Squiccerini, who helped me on a couple of the rough drafts of that one, he suggested, hey, Tom, why don't you put in a joke about being invited to the Massapequa tree lighting ceremony? And the joke was I invited to the Massapequa Park Christmas tree lighting? No. Did I aim higher in life? Yes. That's essentially the spirit of the joke. And I get a message from a man that I have blocked on Instagram, Liam Swags1. He's a guy who did a couple of bringer shows. He's a Long Island bro who did stand-up 2 to 5 times and thinks he's a frigging comedian and expert. And it's sort of a code among comedians generally. And maybe I'm old and maybe this is fading, but generally comedians don't troll other comedians. Only the mentally ill ones do that. Anyway, he started trolling me. Again, the joke was he invited to the Long Island Christmas tree lighting ceremony? No. Did I aim higher in life? Yes. But anyway, he writes a caption. Yeah, I can see the intro. The most unfunny man on Long Island is invited to the Christmas tree lighting. And then I wrote back, dude, you're a comedian. Why are you so angry? And he's like, because you're mass-produced and cheap, something along those lines. But the hard part with opening your heart sometimes is there's someone willing to stab a knife in it. So anyway, and then you go look at his Instagram, and good God, awful comic. I mean, he actually has 1 or 2 good jokes, but I'm like, dude, you've done 2 bringer shows, and the worst part is, I'm like, dude, do you need to do an Andy Angle bringer again to feel like a comedian? That's low end on my part, but I basically said he brought 10 friends to Gotham and he got to get on stage, and he wrote back, you ask Andy Angle about me. I brought the biggest crowd he ever had, so big they put me on a show that I didn't need to bring friends. Well, Liam, I asked Andy Angle about you, and he had no fucking idea who you were. So by the way, don't tell Liam I'm doing this on the podcast. I know I said his name. I'll probably bleep his name out later. But the moral of the story is, sometimes, when you put your heart out, there's just idiots ready to stab it. And it did. It hurt that it was another comic. But going back to the Lenny Marcus thing, good comedy comes from anger. Maybe I have to start getting angry again. Would this podcast be better if I were a little angry? I actually once said that to Elvis Duran, who said, I'm not angry, I'm real. I don't know. So does my real anger have to come out? So anyway, what I want to do with you guys is do the rough take of what will be a Instagram reel released next week. It's actually one that I shot, and long story short, the same microphone I was talking about, that same expensive Bluetooth microphone, I didn't hook it. I drove 40 minutes to a pizza place, recorded at this pizza place in Howard Beach, Queens for 40 minutes, and the microphone wasn't hooked up right. So all the footage of me has no sound. And anyway, so what I'm going to do is take that footage, use it as B-roll, have it cover up whatever I say here. And this is actually a great tourism tip that a lot of you guys may not know. It's about the best pizza place on Long Island. So I'm going to read it now and give you guys like listen, if you're this far into the Tom Kelly Show podcast, and good God, I know you have other choices. Thank you. So what I want you guys to do, with minimal editing on my part, I'm going to give you guys the rough cut. And then if you're bored later, check out Instagram Reels to see how it turned out. And again, if you want to get an authentic pizza, if you have access to a car while you are going to John F. Kennedy Airport, this is the place to get the best real working class New York City slice of pizza. I don't know how else to say it, but I wrote out a script that will probably get edited down to 3 sentences. But here we go. Ready? And I should have really used a bigger font. And let's try this. New Park Pizza is the most authentic New York City pizza. It's from a time left over when Irish and Italian people all lived in different neighborhoods and nobody bothered each other. Now, I know that sounds ignorant, but I say this as a man who's first generation Irish and first generation Sicilian. And I swear, growing up in the 70s and 80s, I felt like I was the product of a mixed marriage. And going to New Park Pizza brings me back to that period in time. I know people who love New Park Pizza so much that they actually drive from Suffolk County, New York, an hour and a half down the Southern State Parkway to the Belt Parkway to Cross Bay Boulevard to get a slice of New Park Pizza in Howard Beach, Queens. New Park Pizza is in Howard Beach, a neighborhood here we go. Ready? And 3, 2, 1. New Park Pizza is in Howard Beach, Queens. It's a neighborhood that may or may not have had mobsters in the 1980s. We don't talk about that stuff. Actually, it's a neighborhood where talking to the police is frowned upon. And it's a neighborhood where, here we go. New Park Pizza is in Howard Beach, Queens, a neighborhood that may or may not have had mobsters in the 1980s. We don't talk about that. Howard Beach is a neighborhood where not talking to the police is a point of pride. Now, I don't even know if New Park Pizza is that great, but it just, it's the truth. I don't even know if New Park Pizza is that great or if just the rest of the world fucks pizza up. Seriously, try harder, America. It's you don't have to put pineapples on a pizza for the slice to taste good. It's just it's a simplicity. For me, you have to get the pizza by the slice. The crust is crisp on the outside, chewy on the inside, and you could watch the guys making the pies. It's a place where where tourists actually go to. I was at New Park Pizza, and there was a woman whose limo driver dropped her off at New Park Pizza. It's the service is authentic New York. The staff is full of friendly ball busters who won't make you cry, though. They'll just bust your balls. Like the guy saw my selfie stick, and he's like, "Hey, I got a slice ready for Steven Spielberg." And then there was a guy who was a rideshare driver. He comes in, and he says to the two men behind the counter, "Hey guys, listen, my slice was burnt. Could I have another one or a refund?" And they were very affable about giving the refund. They said, "Sure, we'll give you a refund. It's just sad that you ate half the slice first." I mean, that's the service you're getting there. And this is the thing. It's such a great slice of pizza. It's a place where if you're a tourist, you have to go to, but tourists don't go there on purpose. The slice is served in Howard Beach neighborhood. Howard Beach is a great neighborhood Howard Beach is a great working class neighborhood with absolutely nothing to do unless you're going to the European Wax Center or the Petco. I mean, there's a wedding hall down the block, but honestly, I'd rather get a slice of New Park Pizza than go to a wedding at Russo's on the Bay. Again, these are all the punchlines I'm just jamming in, people. Howard Beach is a nice working class this is a good one to put it. Howard Beach is a nice working class neighborhood near the airport and near a park that used to be a dump. I'm not even sure if Howard Beach has an actual beach. Just calling the neighborhood Howard would have been bad branding. Just calling the neighborhood Howard would have been bad branding. All right, and there you go, people, and there you go. But when you get your slice, people, and listen, and when you get your slice, ask the man for directions to the beach. See if there is one. I don't know. But again, this one needs a final punchline. But we'll figure that out later. You know what, people? We've done enough show. We're over the limit. Folks, you know what to do. I've given you a couple of ways you could show love where love can be shown earlier in the podcast. And just know, man, I know you have a lot of things that, listen, not only there are a million things on Netflix, there's a million things on Amazon, there's a million things on Spotify, there's a million things on the iHeartRadio app. And the fact that you choose me means more than you know. Good night, Howard Beach. God, it doesn't flow off the tongue, Howard Beach.